Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back in time to explore the herbal world of medieval intoxication. Picture this, the dim glow of candlelight flickering across ancient stone walls, the musty scent of age-old manuscripts blending with herbs and spices in the air, and the gentle rustle of leaves as they dance in the breeze outside. For our medieval ancestors, the pursuit of relaxation, or perhaps a state beyond ordinary consciousness, often involved a variety of intriguing methods, some of which might make you appreciate the safety of modern amenities a bit more, because honestly, you probably won't survive this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you, so feel free to leave a comment below. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The medieval world was a tapestry of potions and concoctions, each promising something different. You find yourself in a bustling apothecary where rows of jars and bundles of herbs catch your eye. The air is thick with the earthy aroma of dried lavender and rosemary intertwined with the sharp tang of vinegar and mystery. Behind the wooden counter stands a figure draped in robes that trail the floor, mixing a brew that simmers gently in a small cauldron. As you draw closer, you notice how the cauldron's steam carries whispers of mugwort, an herb associated with dreams and visions, long before it became just another name in a book of ancient lore. The apothecary doesn't seem to mind your curious gaze. Instead, he smiles and gestures for you to come and see. As you peek into the bubbling mix, he explains in a voice as soft as the midnight breeze that mugwort was believed to enhance prophetic dreams, a kind of foresight coveted by many. In times where the future felt more uncertain than the present, a small part of you wonders, what if those whispered legends hold a kernel of truth hidden beneath layers of superstition and myth? Historians still debate whether the popularity of herbs like mugwort stemmed more from their psychological effects than any reliable medicinal properties. Yet here in this apothecary, the line between perception and reality blurs. The alchemist reaches for another jar filled with dried henbane, known for its narcotic properties, an occasional role in medieval fermented brews. The potion they're creating promises not only visions, but possibly journeys to realms untold. You turn to leave, ready to explore more of this medieval setting, when the apothecary hands you a small pouch. Inside, you find a peculiar mixture, a blend, that would once have been used by those daring enough to seek enhanced experiences, or perhaps foolhardy enough to tempt fate. Though knowledge of dosages was rudimentary, the reckless balance of thrill against peril was a risk undertaken by those who sought distance from the mundane. As you step into the cobblestone street, the setting sun bathes everything in a warm glow. The clattering of hooves and distant chatter fills the evening air. You wander past a tavern that exudes a comforting hum, where the faintly familiar ditties of drunkards echo against the old stone walls. Inside, locals gather sharing stories over mugs of ale, as rich as the laughter that spills over the wooden tables. In this lively den, You learn of yet another peculiar substance alewives women, skilled in brewing, incorporating herbs like gruit in their recipes. Unlike hops, which dominate modern brewing, gruit was a medley of herbs, each added not just for flavor, but a mysterious wild touch. Some nights the patrons swore they glimpsed shadows of past kings upon the walls, brought forth by the brew's heady spell, proof they insist that the batch possessed otherworldly qualities. Yet how much of that was real history leaves us guessing. As you sit among them, a warm mug pressed into your hand, the flavor unfolds part earthy, part floral, a potion in its own right. The essence of so many forgotten moments, like snapshots in the darkness. With each sip, fleeting visions swirl in your mind's eye, and you wonder if the land's legends are in some way woven into the very air and drink. Such were the times when answers seemed to lie in the alchemy between man and nature. The setting sun fades to a twilight blue as stars spark into life above. And though history may cloak these nights in a veil of mysticism, it is the palpable pulse of the past. You feel alive and humming softly, just as assuredly as the fan at your side. You find yourself standing on the cobblestone streets of a bustling medieval town, the chilly air swirling around you, carrying the faint scent of burning wood and bread baking. Ah, the Middle Ages, a time often depicted as dark and grim. But was it truly as bleak as it seems? Amidst the hardships and struggles, the people living in these centuries found unique, often unexpected ways to cope and thrive. You wander past a row of quaint cottages, noting the absence of familiar conveniences, not a street light to be found, though the occasional flicker from a lantern hanging by a doorway provides some comfort. As you stroll, the lively sounds of the town fill your ears, the chatter of villagers, the clatter of horse hooves on stone, and the melodic ringing of a blacksmith's hammer. It's a world without the hum of electricity or the jolt of a morning coffee. The latter stirs a memory, a cup of freshly brewed coffee on a cold morning, something you've come to take for granted. But here coffee is unknown. Instead, there's ale, brewed from hops and barley, a testament to the medieval penchant for innovation, even within the constraints of their time. The truth is, medieval folks were rather inventive, especially when faced with adversity. Take, for instance, the curious case of ergot, a type of fungus that grows on rye. When consumed, it can lead to visions and peculiar behavior, a rather unintended medieval form of dancing. Historians still debate whether these occurrences of dancing mania were solely induced by ergot, or if they were a mix of mass hysteria and superstition. Picture it, villagers gathering not for a grim affair, but a spontaneous, unbridled expression of movement beneath the moonlight, albeit with an unusual provocation. As you absorb the atmosphere, you can't help but notice the limited forms of entertainment available. There's a small group gathered at the foot of a tavern where a traveling storyteller spins tales of valor and knights their eyes wide with imagination. Entertainment here is simple but heartfelt, a communal experience far removed from the digital screens of your world. In the quieter moments, one might find a knight or a scholar poring over manuscripts, the written word a precious treasure, in an age where literacy is a privilege rather than a norm. Speaking of manuscripts, you are reminded of how painstaking the creation of books is during this era. Every letter is delicately scribed by hand, each page a labor of love and dedication. Without the luxury of printing presses or digital text, knowledge is held in high regard, revered and carefully preserved. Knights and scholars alike immerse themselves in reading the art, offering an escape and a means to broaden their horizons amidst the trappings of their reality. The scene shifts again. You see a group of villagers around a makeshift stage, enraptured by a traveling bard, recounting legendary quests. Their laughter and looks of awe echo a shared belief that life, even in its simplest forms, holds a certain charm and sacredness. You realize that despite the lack of modern frivolities, the people here have carved out moments of joy and camaraderie, much as you find solace in a good book or a favorite film back home. All around you, hints of resilience and creativity persist, from elixirs crafted from herbs and roots to ward off ailments to makeshift instruments, keeping the spirit of music alive. Each aspect of medieval life seems to hold a quiet defiance against the harshness of existence. Perhaps the Middle Ages weren't as dismal as they've been painted. Instead, they flourish in unexpected vibrancy. As you continue your stroll enveloped by the gentle whisper of the past, your mind wanders to the children playing their laughter, a timeless melody of innocence. You can almost feel the earth beneath their feet, their games a dance of imagination, unshackled by the constraints of reality. In this world, creativity blooms where necessity dictates, and the arts flourish, born from the minds eager to transcend the mundane. Reflecting on your own world, where the hum of technology often drowns out the simplicity of unadulterated connection, you begin to appreciate this moment in time. The people of the Middle Ages, with their resourceful spirit and indomitable hope, have taught you something inexplicably valuable about human nature and its unyielding capacity to adapt and endure. So as shadows lengthen and the village begins to settle into the quietude of night, you find a spot beside a glowing hearth, its gentle warmth a comforting embrace against the encroaching chill. You close your eyes and let the harmonies of this bygone era lull you into a peaceful reverie, knowing that despite the centuries that divide you, the stories and legacies of those who came before still whisper softly through the echoes of time, leaving a faint yet indelible mark upon the soul. You find yourself wandering through the curious folds of history where time seems to bend and twist. Around you, the world settles softly into the embrace of night stars, blinking lazily in the deep velvet sky. Here, whispers of ancient practices echo, beckoning you to follow. In ages past, the notion of using plants and herbs for their intoxicating effects tinged the air with intrigue, not for the thrill of getting high, as one might assume, but rather to achieve visionary states or to ease the burdens of corporeal pain. You can almost hear the gentle rustle of leaves against a moonlit window, the subtle earthy scent of crushed roots mingling with the night. Imagine, if you will, the life of a medieval doctor. He stands with a solemn expression, grinding roots and petals with mortar and pestle, his knowledge a tapestry woven from the fabric of nature's secrets, is infused with whispers of wisdom passed down through generations, prompting him to prepare poultices and brews. More shaman than scientist, he channels the power of these plants to heal, to soothe, and sometimes to guide the spirit beyond the mundane veil of reality itself. In monasteries, quiet and reverent monks tread along cool stone corridors, their lives dedicated to contemplation and prayer. Yet within these walls, not all is silence. A certain murmur suggests they too dabbled with the mystical properties of their herb gardens. These men of faith, eyebrows furrowed in determination, unknowingly became part-time alchemists. With careful hands, they concocted elixirs, using fragrant oils and ointments to aid in meditation, opening their minds to divine inspiration, or so they believed. But historians still debate whether these intentions were more mystical or metaphorical. And then there were the witches. Picture a dimly lit cottage in the heart of a darkened forest where shadows dance along the walls and the air is thick with incense and mystery. Here the so-called witches, a label generously applied by those outside, looking in gathered herbs with whispers of power. They concocted their strange brews with roots and flowers stirring cauldrons that carried an aroma of magic and mystery. These ointments, sometimes sparingly applied, could transport the mind to otherworldly places, or so the stories profess. The paths of these practitioners often wound alongside one another, with knowledge shared, yet shrouded in secrecy, due to the dangers of misunderstanding by others. Alas, many of these ways were lost, hidden beneath layers of fear and superstition, the tools of a time more treacherous than our own. Indeed, as your eyes grow heavy, you ponder the complexity of history, where facts mingle with myths, and truth wears many faces. You drift slowly toward deeper rest, where the allure of bygone eras beckons like a midnight breeze, carrying you further into the embrace of dreams. You find yourself softly slipping into sleep, the echoes of ancient wisdom cradling you in their gentle embrace. The world around you grows faint, enfolded in the tender quiet of night, and you are still resting in the vast expanse of time's gentle mercy. You find yourself wandering through a timeless landscape where the air is thick with the whispers of ancient secrets. In this world, where the divine and mundane cross paths, there lies a garden, not just any garden, but a place of mysterious allure. The plants here are the stuff of legend, each leaf, each petal, holding whispers of knowledge passed down through the ages. It's a haven where nature extends its offerings for all purposes, healing, enlightening, or befuddling the human spirit. You might think of it as the original apothecary, where remedies and revelations grow side by side. Medicinal use of plants has long been a foundation for cultures worldwide. You're drawn to the knowledge that substances like opium poppies and willow bark were not merely ingredients, they were pivotal in shaping the birth of medicine. Imagine the healers of ancient civilizations, their hands stained from the natural dyes of the earth, diligently preparing concoctions with a focused intent. The smooth stone of a mortar under their touch, the rhythmic grinding of pestle to herb, sets a calming yet purposeful tone, melding the essence of plant and practitioner. But here's where the garden expands from the purely medicinal into realms both spiritual and mistakenly treacherous. Certain plants, you might learn, were revered for their connection to the divine. They held the power to guide introspection, to open gateways to otherworldly visions. The priests and shamans of eras gone by would venture into this garden, seeking enlightenment, a deeper understanding of the world around them. Or, perhaps, if they got the mixture wrong, a brief but intense detour into delirium. You wander further, imagining the spiritual ceremonies, the smoke lifting from smoldering herbs, carrying prayers and supplications on the wind. In moments like these, boundaries blur, the edge of reality softens under the veil of incense and chant. Breathing it in, you feel a slight tingling pull, as though the past itself is tugging at the corners of your consciousness, inviting you into a time more mystic and primal. Still, with all nature's generosity, it must be said nature as a harsh dealer does not discriminate between those who seek her bounty. Many a curious soul, led by tales of wonder, found themselves at the mercy of misidentified plants. The innocent-looking leaves hiding potent toxins told tales of unintended voyages, unnecessary suffering from what was thought to be mild relief. It's said that even Socrates met his end under the influence of a mislabeled potion of hemlock. As you journey through this vast narrative, woven by the earth, you might wonder at the garden's accessibility. Its bounty is open, as if beckoning passers-by to partake, yet its bounty demands respect. The ease with which one could pluck a leaf and delve into its unknown effects reminds you of stories from other lands of colds, cured of visions seen of dangers narrowly avoided. Historians still debate whether the lessons learned were intentional gifts of the divine or clever interpretations by ancestral healers. Remember, the past is much like this garden-rich complex, and not without its hidden perils. Yet it offers so much for those who wish to seek wisdom gently, the mortar and pestle symbolizing this delicate balance between knowledge and chaos. As the night deepens, the mysteries of this verdant sanctuary continue to unfold, each step whispering stories of ancient rites, medicinal breakthroughs, and spiritual awakenings. As your eyes grow heavier, consider the journey you've taken, walking paths trodden by seekers long past, feeling the earth's hum beneath your feet. Nature's offerings, though sometimes harsh, provide a link to those who walked before you. Gently, these stories settle like a soft cloak warming you. Let them drift in your mind like the gentle rustle of leaves in a cool night breeze, ushering restful whispers until morning light. The forest around you seems alive as you wander the trees, whispering secrets overhead. Your feet sink quietly into the earth's soft embrace, unsettling leaves and revealing the rich, musky scent of soil. You remember what you've heard about this forest, a place entwined with wonders and dangers. Beneath your feet, roots intertwine, forming a network more ancient and complex than you might imagine. As you tread carefully, you encounter a patch of plants with vivid green leaves, their edges lined with a hint of purple. The air covers you in a fragrant tapestry that suggests both healing and mystery. You pause, considering these plants' dual nature. In history, these could be as soothing as a mother's lullaby, or as mind-bending as a fever dream. In the past, monks brewed potions from their leaves to ease the body's burdens, while mystics whispered of visions beyond mortal comprehension. Near your path, a cluster of fungi grabs your attention. Their caps, spotted and glistening with morning dew, look like tiny lanterns glowing with an unseen light. These mushrooms are no ordinary forest inhabitants. They hold the power to mend wounds or transport the mind to realms unseen. The line between medicinal remedy and mystical journey becomes blurry here, yet these were staples in a midwife's satchel, partnering with roots and barks to work miracles during births, a humble guardian of new life. Historians still debate whether those midwives fully comprehended their concoction's power, or if their practices were more art than science. What is certain is their profound effect, like the soothing echoes of a lullaby sung over generations. With each step, the forest feels a little more enchanted, as if beckoning you to uncover its secrets. Your fingers brush against the bark of an elder tree, whose gnarled branches stretch wide, a silent witness to centuries of healers and seekers alike. Just then, you spot an indentation in the earth, a subtle hollow, like a natural doorstep leading down into the roots. It invites you to ponder what lies beneath, where soil cradles ancient stories and hidden truths. The earthy aroma grows stronger, blending with the fragrance of wild flowers, stirring memories of herbal remedies, whispered through countless ages. In this place, the boundaries of the natural world seem less defined, merging gently with whispers of the past. You can almost hear the faint chant of monks as they carefully gathered herbs, guided by traditions, pass through generations, each leaf a page in an unwritten book of healing. As the day fades and the shadows lengthen, you find yourself at ease, nestled within this woodland's embrace. Your feet trace paths, walked by countless others, each step echoing those who sought solace or insight. In this moment, the line between healer and visionary blurs, leaving you in a world comfortably suspended between the known and the mysterious, like the soft harmonies of a lullaby to soothe your wandering thoughts. You're walking through the shadowy corridors of the medieval abbey, where the flickering light of torches dances against the stone walls. The air is thick with the scent of ancient herbs and incense remnants of long-gone rituals. You're here for a peculiar reason tonight, to unravel the mysteries of a plant that carries both danger and allure, Henbane, or Hyoscyamus niger. In this time, the herb gardens cultivated by monks bristle with diverse foliage. Amongst the thyme and rosemary, more nefarious plants grow in quiet whispers. Henbane stands out vibrant, yet treacherous, its greasy yellow blooms and the faintly purple veins casting a curious spell. It's no wonder they call it the herb that could conjure curious hallucinations and compelling visions. You hear tales of monks painstakingly working on potions and remedies, their fingers brushing these leaves with reverence and fear in equal measure. Did you know that this very plant was a staple in ancient apothecaries, like hidden treasures, locked in wooden cabinets with brass handles? It was rumored to be used by both learned doctors and those branded as witches alike, their practices often diverging on ethical grounds rather than botanical ones. Using just the right amount, it promised dreams thick with symbolism, or it could whisk away someone's consciousness like a leaf caught in a strong wind. Historians still debate whether this dual use endeared or damned the herb among the wise and the wary. Imagine this: a quiet supplicant sought counsel under moonlight gathered from Henbane in secret, the concoction potent enough to transport them to realms of celestial wisdom during their sleep. Yet its danger touched mundane lives too. There's a familial story you stumbled upon, a man known as Uncle Bernard, who thought himself a duck for a week, all thanks to an ill-advised dose. The doses you murmured were often the trickiest part, just as today, when the line between remedy and poison is a whisper, not a shout. Monks noted that while your regular plants like basil demanded little more than water and sun, Henbane was fickle. Perhaps it was the spirits who guarded the mystical secrets who made its cultivation so. Sing a song as you plant or turn the soil under a waning moon. These were but nudges from superstitious tongues. Whether these stories hold any water or are just old wives' tales, well, that's the beauty of our bygone echo. Walking through these corridors, you can almost hear the echo of centuries passing by. The rustle of robes as monks make their way to the library or perhaps an infirmary where the sick and weary were tended. The combination of pestle and mortar, grinding dried leaves into a soft, powdery plume. The scent, almost dizzying, reminds you that not all history is kind or gentle, but it is rich and alive. Perhaps what captivates you most is not the definitive, but the mysteries left unresolved. How many stories could this plant tell if only it could speak? Was it a blessing of health, or a curse to the foolhardy who thought all nature was benevolent? Even now in moonlit gardens and cloistered abbeys, the debate lingers, a secretive nod to the powers nature wields. As you weave through the tales and truths of Henbane, remember, there is always more than meets the eye, or the second glance back at history's untold depths, where the sun rises and paints every ancient stone gold. The night's stories are already wrapping around again, a woven tapestry that waits for curious listeners and brave explorers to draw the next curious chapter close to their hearts. And so, as the torchlight flickers and the shadows dance every which way, you know you're only beginning to unlock the secrets hidden among the dusty tomes and whispered secrets of forgotten times, just in time for a quiet, dream-weaving repose. In the dim glow of a candle-lit room, you find yourself surrounded by ancient books and the faint scent of herbs. The flickering light casts playful shadows, shaping a world where the whispers of the past beckon you closer. Tonight, your journey takes you through the mysterious land of Henbane, a plant both feared and revered throughout history, known for its dual nature, offering soothing relief when treated with respect, but chaos if its boundaries are pushed. It's as if you're holding a potent elixir, a warning to step carefully. You meander along a path lined with tall henbane plants, their yellow flowers nodding enigmatically as if aware of their own power. In smaller doses, henbane with its mesmerizing fragrance is like a gentle whisper in the dark, a comfort to those suffering from toothaches or sleepless nights. You picture yourself applying a poultice, the calming oils seeping gently into your skin, offering a respite from the day's aches and restlessness. Yet, like the flickering shadows, Henbane has another face, one that animated many a tale in villages long forgotten. It's here where legends say a reckless few consume just a bit too much, and the world wobbles into a different orbit. You imagine a dusty old cottage where herbs hang in bundles, and the air is thick with the pungent practice of drying and mixing. The stories tell of people talking to turnips, or insisting the stars have molded themselves into new constellations, coaxed by the hallucinogenic wonders of Henbane when daringly overdosed. As you consider these tales, you sit by the ancient hearthstone of apothecaries, who with whispered incantations and precise handwork crafted Henbane into teas, or smoked it in delicate rituals. Each breath, each sip was a dance with the unknown, a nod to the spirits of the plant thriving on the edge of reality. It's a craft as old as the mythological storytellers seated around bonfires, using Henbane's artistry to blur the line between the world we know and the realms that lie beyond. Deep in the heart of these concoctions lies the enigmatic duo of scopolamine and hyoscyamine chemicals that have steered the course of Henbane's narrative through ages. These are the gentle puppeteers orchestrating the nervous system's plunge into either serene tranquility or vivid hallucination. You're reminded of the wizards and healers who measured their powders, meticulously aware that a pinch too much can lead to impromptu dancing under a harvest moon. The descriptions are vivid, everyone knew the risks, yet the daring allure was inescapable. It's as if you too feel the tingling anticipation of stepping into an unknown ritual, poised at the brink of discovery or madness. While historians are torn, some argue that the lines between medicinal and magical were as fluid as the wafting smoke of Henbane, curling and twisting into shapes that tell a dozen stories at once. In your mind, you are there gathering with the villagers inside a modest cottage, stolen away by a chill autumn wind. It's a gathering of minds clinking mugs of Henbane tea, each sip possibly leading to tales of levitating chickens or conversing with pumpkins under the ghostly light of the forgotten moon. The quiet and echoing call of history makes you wonder if everything could have been just a little different. What caused a cure to morph into chaos with one spoonful too many, or a draught too potent? There's a murmur once held by the wise women and old men sitting with you as if around a timeless round table, candles dimly flickering in tune with their tales. Your night extends peacefully with these musings. It's perhaps a reminder, a reflection in this historical mirror, that stories of Henbane and its mysterious allure are as much about respect as they are about peril. And as you delve deeper into this ancient ritualistic narrative, you find yourself drifting closer to slumber. Each chapter of the journey lays soft like petals, lining a tender path toward rest. You've walked through the fields of shadow, and light felt the soft tickle of leaves whisper past your skin, and listen to the mellow choir of the plant world. Here, amidst these echoes, the past and present entwine seamlessly, and the darkness is just a canvas for the gentle stories the night carries As your mind wanders, the details start to blur comfortably, just as in the hazy tales shared by the elders. You are enveloped in a cocoon of gentle curiosity, in a soothing rhythm, falling steadily into the soft folds of sleep. The resonance of leaves, rustling in an echo of time, eases all thoughts of the now guiding you toward rest. Under the tender mercy of night's embrace, Henbane's lesson lingers in your dreams, an ancient whisper of balance and respect. Your breaths deepen, a natural rhythm, syncing with the age-old wisdom shared across centuries. The candle flickers one last time before its warmth, like Henbane's gentle touch, fades into a sleepy sigh. The world around you softens, and you are finally in a place where rest is your sole indulgence. Sleep well, for you ventured through the tapestry of tales, and here in slumber, the sweetest dreams await you. The evening air is cool on your face. As you wander through the winding paths of the ancient world, you find yourself in a small, bustling medieval town, where the air carries a curious mix of earthy floral scents. You've heard tales of plants with peculiar powers, and tonight you delve into one that sits on the razor's edge of intrigue and infamy. Henbane, this seemingly innocuous plant, hides much beneath its silky leaves. Technically, it stands on firm legal ground in this world of herbal wonders. Yet nestled amidst the fields and wooden homes, its reputation remains contentious, caught in the stern gaze of the church. The plant's properties are said to induce visions blurring the line between the earthly realm and the mystical sparking whispers of witchcraft and hidden rituals. Amidst the dim candlelight of the time, rumors of otherworldly dreams abound, all circling back to this strange herb. The church, ever wary, holds suspicion tightly questioning each ethereal experience, as you would question the shadowy shapes flickering on a cave wall. In the taverns and alehouses, where laughter mixes with the shouts of merrymakers, there's talk of Henbane's historical role as a crucial ingredient in brewing. Before hops took the stage as the perennial king of flavor and preservation, Henbane danced in the cauldron. You imagine yourself seated on a worn wooden bench, ale in hand, wondering about the earthy, mysterious undertones that Henbane might have added to the brew. No one can say for sure whether the brews were more potent back then, with visions subtly weaved into each sip, but it's a colorful thought that lingers. Despite these notions, hops eventually charmed their way into favor, making Henbane an obscure memory in the art of brewing. The reasons behind hops' ascendancy include practicality and flavor, yet one can't help but consider the whispered tales of Henbane's secret powers, pushing it into the shadows. Historians still debate whether the switch to hops was solely a matter of taste, or if the church's influence played a part, urging the populace towards a more pure beverage experience, free from the mind's unpredictable wanderings. In this world flowing with mead and stories, Henbane's legal standing is but a piece of a much larger puzzle. As you continue through the winding streets, lanterns casting comforting pools of light amidst the cobblestones, you ponder how substances like Henbane have woven their way into the fabric of history. Each curious detail adds a layer to your understanding, turning simple plants into symbols, controversies, or hints of something greater. The notion that you could be one sip away from an altered state of consciousness becomes both fascinating and disconcerting. Just as with the goat fat trick swirling like a past echo in your mind, these quaint, almost mythic legacies remind you that human history is as full of surprises as it is of everyday truths. You find solace in knowing that the world always holds more questions than answers, each question like a gentle nudge urging you to explore further. Now hand upon the aged walls, dotted with climbing ivy, you feel a pull toward rest. The story of Henbane lulls you into a serene state, inviting reflection over resolution. In the end, the tale isn't simply about legality or visions, but the very human curiosity that reaches back across time to pull these whispers of history into the vibrant now. And so, as the sounds of the night shift gently, you take one more look around, letting the night soften your thoughts. The journey through shadowed pasts and enigmatic choices promises a dreamscape filled with possibilities. You allow it to bewitch you one last time before surrendering to slumber, wrapped in the gentle embrace of history's hum. You make your way through a moonlit garden, the cool air brushing against your skin, carrying with it the earthy scent of soil and mysterious herbs. You walk past rows of strange plants, their leaves rustling softly in the night. Among them, you find the mandrake, its roots twisting beneath the dark earth like hidden secrets waiting to be unearthed. The mandrake, known perhaps best for its curious shape, resembles a small human in form. Its limbs curve like a miniature creature slumbering under the ground, holding the stories of ages within its crooked embrace. Some legends say that when uprooted, this peculiar root doesn't simply emerge in silence. Instead, it lets out a scream, a bone-chilling, ear-piercing cry that has, according to tales from long ago, driven humans mad or worse. You probably won't survive this, says the old story. But we'll get to that part soon enough. As you bend closer envisioning the mandrake's history, you're pulled into a world where reality and myth intertwine. The ancient texts whisper of its ties to magic medicine and rituals. In medieval times, the mandrake held a revered place as an ingredient in powerful potions said to aid in everything from inducing sleep to inspiring visions. It was believed that those daring enough to harness its power might unlock secrets beyond imagination. One fact remains certain: apothecaries prize the mandrake for its potential to heal, despite its fearsome reputation. It appears in accounts detailing treatments for ailments ranging from pain relief to fertility enhancement. Yet historians still debate whether its effects were more rooted in tangible benefits or the symbolic mysticism that surrounded its usage. After all, humans have always been drawn to the mysteries of the unknown. Beyond the practical uses lay a realm of superstition and cautionary tales. Farmers of old, wary of the root's scream, devised clever methods to harvest it. One such method involved using a dog to pull the plant from the soil, an act meant to transfer any perilous effects from human to beast. Perhaps it was all for show, a performance to appease nerves and entertain imaginations, but the tradition hints at a reverence for the plant's potential power, real or imagined. As you stand in this garden, surrounded by the whispers of the past, you ponder the unusual ties between man and mandrake. Through folklore and fact, this peculiar root has held its place, a testament to the complex tapestry of human belief. And while you may never hear the fabled scream yourself, you're certain of one thing: the mandrake in its silent watch beneath the earth has not yet revealed all it knows. The night deepens, a gentle breeze passing through the garden, with promises of stories yet untold. Each rustle of leaves calls to the curious, inviting them to wander further into the depths of history's garden. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Feel free to share your location and local time as we delve together into tales of the past. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You find yourself on a cool autumn night, beneath a sky dotted with countless stars, a soft breeze rustling through the trees around you. Tonight, you embark on a journey toward the forgotten lore of a mysterious plant fraught with equal measures of allure and danger, the mandrake. Known in ancient tales for its peculiar roots and perilous harvests, it beckons those brave enough to seek it. But beware, for the legends speak of its scream, a sound so dreadful that it brings death to those who hear it directly. You're already reconsidering your plans, aren't you? You probably won't survive this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from and what time it is, so drop that in the comments. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The mandrake you see isn't like those plants that nestle quietly in the earth. It demands a certain courage, a readiness to flirt with the unknown. Our journey starts with an ancient technique crafted to evade its reputed scream: the use of faithful dogs in the art of mandrake harvesting. Picture this: the moon casting long shadows over ancient fields as you quietly fasten a rope to your trusty canine companion. With careful encouragement, the dog pulls at the mandrake's root with gentle persistence while you stand at a safe distance, bracing for whatever might follow. Historians still debate whether these tales of the mandrake's deadly cry are born of truth or legend, but the practice persists as a colorful, if not cautious, tradition. The roots of the mandrake, once unearthed, hold a striking resemblance to the human form, a little botanical mimicry, or perhaps just overzealous anthropomorphism by our ancestors. Once harvested, the mandrake's true journey begins. It was said to hold remarkable powers, both revered and feared across different times. As a sedative and anesthetic, it found its place in the hands of healers, easing the pain of the injured with a whisper of its touch. An intriguing twist, however, comes with its use as an aphrodisiac. Imagine that using the very root that's been compared to a deadly banshee to fan the flames of romance. Of course, it wouldn't be a true historical curiosity without a kernel of over-dramatized hazard consume too much, and it ushers you into an uncomfortable dance with nausea, or worse, into the arms of a deep, unnatural sleep not easily roused. The ancients also revered its capability as a visionary aid, opening the mind to realms unseen by the average eye. In the flickering light of oil lamps, sages whispered of insights that the mandrake might unlock. Yet some academics question the specifics of these practices, pondering if it was the mystical allure of the plant itself, or simply the story that grew around it enriching its legend. With the mandrake in hand, you wonder at the wisdom of magic and medicine colliding within its grasp. Would you have dared to slip into a dream woven by such a questionable friend? The gamble seems greater when considering the potential side effects. Vomiting and coma aren't exactly the inviting symptoms one looks for in a comforting brew. It's humbling to think that these risks were willingly taken back when the lines between science and sorcery blurred, and the night held as many answers as it did mysteries. Yet for every fearsome tale, there exists a charm, or a tale of protection wrapped around the mandrake like a woven cloak. In some cultures, these roots, once safely harvested, were transformed into amulets offering protection against evil and misfortune. It seems that where danger dwelt, so too did a promise of safety, making the mandrake a perfect allegory for the dual nature of all things powerful. Thus, entwined with both danger and promise, the mandrake root holds a captivating place in the annals of history. Its stories are not merely of a plant, but a narrative of human intrigue, our insatiable curiosity, and the lengths to which we will go to touch the edges of the unseen world, finding magic where others see madness. Perhaps tonight, as the moon rides high, you'll find that what we seek in the wild, twisting roots beneath our feet, is nothing less than a reflection of our own unfathomable depths. And so, wrapped in the misty tales of mandrakes and myth, you draw your blanket close. Let your imagination wander to places where history and fantasy dance just beyond the horizon, where its legacy hums softly in the night's gentle whispers. In the dim candlelit room of an old monastery, nestled deep within the labyrinth of forgotten hills, you find yourself surrounded by a whisper of old parchment and the faint scent of incense lingering in the air. The silence is profound, every rustle of your robe echoing off the stone walls like a soft reminder of the secrets held within these ancient halls. Though the evening is calm, a sense of cautious curiosity fills the space, an air that must have been familiar to the monks who once chronicled powerful wonders of the world long before your time. You tread carefully between stacks of aged books, their spines bearing marks of age and wisdom. Tonight your thoughts are drawn to one peculiar subject that has survived the scrutiny and suspicion of history, the mandrake plant. Just the mention of its name might invoke tales of enchantment potions and the eerie cries said to echo when it is uprooted, a detail that's more melodrama than fact, much like that warning you once heard about one taste of custard tart being your undoing. As you explore the monk's archived ledger, you find it astonishing how meticulously they recorded recipes involving this elusive root, despite the ominous cloud of witchcraft hanging over it. It's a curious juxtaposition, men of faith, cataloging knowledge that's been scented by the fires of heresy. It seems prudent to tether your imagination to reality, for the church's suspicious eyes were never kind to those who strayed too far into the shadows, wielding knowledge that bordered on the mystical. Historians still debate whether these monks intended to push the boundaries of understanding or merely preserve what others feared. There's a tempered bravery in their actions, like carrying a candle into the pitch of night, knowing well the wind could snap out its flame or worse, light a path to accusations of heresy that few seem to escape without scars. Yet as your fingers trace over the recipes, you sense a guided wisdom in their careful risk-taking. The mandrake's properties were potent, after all, rumored to aid in sleep-sedate pain, and even invite deep dreams, the kind that curl around one's thoughts long into waking hours. A plant accused of witchery, treasured in silent reverence, its power likened to human whims of taming the unknowable. The church's suspicion was understandable, for in an era where belief wielded power like a sword, anything tainted with the scent of the otherworldly was enough to stoke fear. It's a delicate balance, akin to navigating between the safety of your bed and the adventure of your dreams. You imagine the monks' heads bent under flickering candlelight, like now their actions a dance of defiance beneath the weight of a watchful hierarchy. Each stroke of their quill was a step into the unknown, much as your own curiosity guides you tonight. Even with the risk of heresy lurking, they were driven by an unquiet spirit, perhaps, not unlike your own desire for understanding. There's a certain wisdom in their decision to neither fully embrace nor entirely reject the knowledge of the mandrake, a reflection of reality's own complexity. Just because something is misunderstood doesn't mean it lacks value and enduring lesson, much like the folklore that can breathe truths from shadows. As you continue to read, you come across an account of a monk who delved too deep, his curiosity echoing in the chapel like the distant peal of forbidden bells. He danced perilously close to those shadows, and the ripple of his thoughts nearly cast him astray. Yet it was his perseverance that left an indelible mark upon these pages, a testament to humanity's relentless pursuit of the unknown. Underneath the historical weight and mythology, the mandrake stands as a symbol of resilience and caution, combining the promise of knowledge with the caution of consequence. A reminder that the balance between faith and understanding is as delicate as the night on which you find yourself pondering these very mysteries. With every lost page you tread over and every whispered name you encounter, you are reminded of the courage it takes to face the darkness, trusting you'd return to see the dawn. The monks, with their recipes and records, crafted a life amidst secrecy and warning, like an artist sculpting a masterpiece from the stone. And though the church's eyes were ever watchful, it was the act of capturing knowledge that proved most enduring of all. In contemplating their steps, you imagine how you might travel this fine line yourself, walking carefully between what is known and what lingers on the edge of legend. The delicate dance of history continues, as does your own quiet journey through its unfolding stories. As you wander through the tranquil halls of history, you come across a curious little garden, its paths winding intricately like threads in an ancient tapestry. You stoop down and brush your fingers against the delicate leaves of a plant, its berries glistening like forbidden jewels under the moonlit sky. This is Belladonna, or Atropa belladonna, known in folklore as the deadly nightshade. One touch might intrigue, but a taste, well, you probably won't survive this seductive encounter. Historically, belladonna has played a dual role, loved and feared, much like a capricious lover. Women of medieval Italy would drop its juice into their eyes to enlarge their pupils, making them appear more beautiful and inviting, misted with allure. This effect was considered so desirable that this plant was named belladonna, literally meaning beautiful lady. But beauty here is a double-edged sword. Its allure was often accompanied by chaos hallucinations that blurred reality, a dance with danger that could occasionally end in death. The plant itself stands tall, waving gently like a mysterious stranger in the night, a bit too beguiling but unpredictably unstable, much like that ex you couldn't quite figure out. Historians still debate whether its reputation for causing madness stems from its literal effects or from the captivating tales spun by storytellers over generations. You stand in silence, perhaps, contemplating the balance between beauty and peril that this plant encapsulates. As legend tells, the potion made from belladonna has been used by witches and sorcerers, stories swirling in the mists of the past. Its berries can delight the eyes but are toxic to the touch, appearing sweet, yet dealing a bitter fate. There's something irrevocably romantic yet tragic about belladonna's story, a fitting reminder of nature's unapologetic mix of allure and danger. With a gentle rustling in the evening breeze, you step back from the plant and imagine how it might have felt for those medieval women, their eyes wide with the enhancements of beauty, perhaps seeing the world differently, only to be drawn into its web of illusions. Historically, its medicinal uses included sedatives and muscle relaxants, a stark contrast to its more infamous, malevolent uses. As the night deepens, you sense a lightness in your heart and a bit of sarcasm in the night air, a nod to all those who tread a little too close to this botanical siren, who learned the hard way that sometimes beauty is only berry skin deep. The garden invites you to linger, yet urges caution, reminding you of tales yet untold and history's endless embrace. And so you continue your gentle stroll through this nocturnal garden of historical fantasies and forgotten fears, lingering amid the lush foliage and the whispering shadows, contemplating how nature's most beautiful creations can hold secrets darkly wrapped in seduction and mystery. As you navigate this dreamy landscape, the night compels you to weave tales of your own ones that can drift softly with you into the realms of sleep. You wander through a lush green meadow where the air is rich with the scent of evening flowers and the gentle breeze whispers tales of ancient times. Among these blooms lies a very special plant, belladonna, sometimes known as deadly nightshade. You pause to consider its historical uses, as if touching the silken cloak of time itself. Belladonna was once considered a powerful painkiller, much like an herbal guardian against the echoes of pain. This magical plant found its way into the healing practices of the ancients. You imagine those who sought its help, reaching for relief within its dark berries and verdant leaves. But Belladonna doesn't stop there. It also whispers you to sleep a natural lullaby for those weary souls needing respite. In the shadows of mystery, you learn of its less serene role as a truth serum. How intriguing that such a gentle-looking plant could cajole secrets from the depths of anyone's heart. You wonder if there's any truth to the legends of whispered confessions in candlelit rooms, secrets spilling like soft rain onto cold stone floors. Contained within Belladonna are the formidable chemicals atropine and scopolamine. These names ring with the reverberation of science and discovery compounds that both heal and bewitch. Your mind drifts to ancient apothecaries and rudimentary operating tables, where Belladonna played its part in risky medical procedures, guiding trembling hands in dimly lit rooms. Historians tell of its use in surgeries before the advent of more modern anesthesia, its soothing qualities coaxing patients into a world between wakefulness and dreams. Yet whether it was a gentle guide or a perilous poison often depended on the steadiness of the healer's hand, a subject that still invites spirited debate among scholars. One might say, standing amidst the forgiving fields where Belladonna dwells, that this plant embodies a duality of life, both a fantasy and a fraught venture. As you breathe in the mythical air, you feel an appreciative thrill, gentle yet piquing, as if sharing a fleeting whispered secret with the world itself. As your journey continues through this strange realm of historical remedies, you find yourself amid a scene that feels both familiar and utterly foreign. There's an old wooden table in front of you, laden with an array of unusual ingredients and peculiar apparatus. Before you lies a collection of dried herbs roots and leaves, each neatly bundled and labeled in an elegant scrawl. The mere sight of them tells tales from a time when the world's mysteries were unraveled by the warmth of a hearth fire and the clinking of glass bottles. Your eyes rest on a vessel that catches the dim flickering light. It's a pot, bubbling with a salve, that someone once believed could remedy ailments from lounge-worn fatigue to more grievous conditions. You notice someone in a tall hat, slowly stirring its contents, the aroma creeping into the room, a humid, earthy scent of sage, rosemary, and something else. Perhaps cat fat. Yes, it seems even the ancestors believed in recycling every humble part of life. Drawing closer, you become the apprentice, as they gesture you to help prepare these concoctions. As you hold one of the dried bunches, a memory is shared, a time when hemlock, now known as a dangerous poison, was no less than a potent healer in the right hands, a second away from granting you visions of angels. Or turnips, should the mixture strike a somewhat weaker note than expected. While the herbalist guides your hands with a grandfatherly patience, they spin tales that feel lost to time. Did you know that in certain parts of medieval Europe, monks meticulously documented every leaf and root in cloistered scriptoriums, debating over the reliability of these recipes? Historians still debate the effectiveness of such methods, and often wonder whether these humble monks, their robes dusty with centuries of alchemical research, believed entirely in their own creations. A smile creeps onto your face as you ponder the absurdity of it all. It's one thing to grow a turnip, and quite another to expect divine insight when sipping tinctures persistently brewed with seemingly odd pairings. Take, for instance, a favorite amongst these domestic chemists, wines infused with herbs that were rumored to bring both health and clarity. Yet exactly what sort of clarity might be coaxed from a rosemary-infused red or a sage-sweetened white? Perhaps just enough to make you somewhat merry, or disastrously enough to make you see double. Even our feline companions had more than just a playful purr in their repertoire, it seems. It turns out, under the right philosophical waxing of an elder concoctionist, a pinch of cat essence here and there wasn't just beneficial, it was transformative. You're not sure you'll ever view your curious house cat the same way again. This home-crafted wisdom whispers its secrets as you listen closely. Your hands continue their work grinding leaves to powder, while you can't help but chuckle softly at the hodgepodge of curiosity and patience displayed here. You'll try your best in earnest. After all, it's all about conjuring that unpredictable magic. A recipe might very well toss you into the arms of angels, or leave you with a basket of turnips. As your time in this dimly lit room stretches leisurely, the encroaching exquisite aroma of steeped herbs and brewed wine creates a tapestry. It's an interweaving of lives that now speak through their crafted elixirs and preserved scripts. Consider the next moment a pause to reflect beneath the glow of candlelight. What were the intentions besides survival, you wonder? Perhaps it was the enduring human spirit, ever hopeful, ever reaching for a touch of the divine in the everyday, or simply ensuring, sometimes against all odds, the pantry would never lack turnips. This chapter among herbs and borrowed wisdom will settle into your bones as a gentle reminder that history holds much more than dusty tomes. It cradles whispers of bizarre truths and humor in the painstaking quest for understanding. You feel a sense of connection with those who dared stir a pot filled with impossibilities. They knew as well as you do that each brew was a leap into the unknown, an adventure in itself. Nothing but the crackle of a dwindling fire accompanies your musings. All that's left is to allow your mind to drift gently on this aromatic tide. Your journey through these times may promise little clarity in practice, but delivers instead the warmth of shared human curiosity through centuries. As the old herbalist tidies the table, they lend you a final nod, an acknowledgement of your shared tryst in history's quieter, cozier pages. Finally, a soft hum blankets over thoughts like a comforting cloak, wrapping you in the knowing that the night holds you close, as secure as these ancient echoes of everyday wonders. Perhaps it's just the wine, or maybe something more, something timeless that promises rest to both soul and soil, to all those who listen and wait for dawn's reassuring light. You steady yourself under the waning moon, the night embracing you like a soft cocoon. The cool grass beneath your feet whispers tales of forgotten magic and mystery as you move silently towards the eve's secretive gathering place. In the distance, the silhouettes of trees stand like ancient sentinels guarding secrets older than the whispers of time. Here, under the starlit canopy, forgotten sorcery stirs an age-old ritual, that whispers promises of flight to those daring enough to venture. Tonight the air is infused with the delicate scent of wild herbs, a melange of Henbane and Belladonna, known for centuries for their potent properties. You recall the story's tales of ointments that, when applied carefully to broomsticks, could whisk you away on visions of flight. It's whispered that those who texture the bristles with these concoctions find themselves soaring above fields and valleys, the wind a sweet companion in these ethereal journeys. But while these tales of flight captivate the imagination, it's not merely the sensation of air beneath you that beckons. The ointment's hallucinogenic properties weave visions as vivid as any dream of soaring through the skies. Each brushstroke onto the broom unleashes a tapestry of colors and sensations that twist around your senses, leaving you feeling as if your feet have indeed left the earth below. Strange, isn't it, how history is painted with these almost unbelievable threads of imagination? You sense the same wistful wonder relished by those who first discovered this peculiar use of herbal alchemy. They found themselves reaching not just across the lands, but into the very fabric of the night. Yet not everyone looks kindly upon such mysterious flights. In times past, the church viewed these vivid experiences as whispers of demonic pacts rather than flights of herbal influence. Their stern gaze confused magic with malice, seeing dark forces where others saw only the shadows of the untamed night. Historians still debate whether these flying ointments were widespread, or if they were tales spun larger with each retelling. The accounts persist nonetheless, capturing the imagination like fairy tales of old. Imagine even now how the mere touch of a broomstick could be a ticket to the stars, or a dive into the deep recesses of one's mind. The lore of Henbane and Belladonna is not without its cautionary notes. You remind yourself, remembering how doses must be precisely measured. A little too much and the delightful dance of the senses could spiral into a night unraveled by confusion. Those early alchemists understood this delicate balance, the fine line between visionary enchantment and chaotic oblivion. As you stand in the gentle caress of night, a light breeze stirs, rustling the leaves with an affectionate murmur, a constant companion on this path of wonderment. Such moments remind you that while history sometimes confounds reality with the fantastical, each tale carries a kernel of truth that sparkles like a forgotten gem in the moonlight. You linger just a moment longer, feeling the night deepen its embrace. It's easy to see how the imagination flirts with the idea of flight, how each lost legend yearns to tell its story anew, even as the modern world races past, leaving such musings to the corners of forgotten library shelves. Whatever truths of the past remain hidden tonight, under the watchful eye of the night sky, you find peace in this narrative tapestry. The subtle line between history and myth beckons you to explore its colorful threads, further promising that here lies a dreamy refuge from the humdrum routine. Through the haze of time and the whisper of stories, it's clear why ancient souls might yearn for flight, to escape, to dream, to wander unfettered across the night's vast panorama. The mysteries of flying ointments, lovingly concocted and passed down in secret, linger in the dark corners of history, inviting you to ponder their nature as delicate and ephemeral as the breeze that caresses your skin. And in this calm narrative space, you find solace. Just like those voices of long ago, you too can drift through this night's gentle rhythms, letting the persistent curiosity of the past lead you to sleep's serene embrace, knowing that each flight begins with a feather-light leap into the unknown. With a final glance at the star-dappled sky, you close your eyes, letting the night envelop you in its quiet, ancient song, the melody of history, myth, and wonder, inviting you to weave dreams as you drift into slumber. The secrets of nights and skies are not so different after all. As you traverse the winding roads of ancient Islamic lands, cloaked in the mystique of time, you discover a scent lingering in the air, a sweet, fragrant aroma of honey mixed with the earthy richness of hashish. The night is cool, and the stars hang like scattered jewels in the vast dome above, casting their ethereal light on your path. In these regions, hashish wasn't merely a commodity, it was a sophisticated indulgence intricately woven into the cultural and spiritual fabric. You find yourself enveloped by tales of Sufi mystics who, in their quest for greater connection to the divine, would partake in this honeyed elixir. It was believed to open the doors of perception, allowing them to commune with the mysteries of the universe. As they danced in their whirling reveries, the skirts of their robes twirling gracefully in the candlelit glow. Historians still debate whether these practices were as widespread as tales suggest, but there's no doubt they left a profound mark on the cultural tapestry. You feel the echoes of their laughter and songs lingering in the air, invisible threads tying you to an enigmatic past. Despite their allure, many rulers of these lands tried to place bans on hashish, fearful of its intoxicating influence spreading too far beyond the realms of spiritual retreat. Yet just like trying to hold water in your hands, these bans often slumped into ineffectiveness. The call of hashish was a siren too compelling to be silenced, its allure seeping through the shadows and into the lives of those who sought its embrace. Nestled in pebble-strewn mountains and ancient fortresses, another secret compels your imagination, the tale of the legendary Hashishin, this infamous sect whose name echoes the whispered haze of hashish, conjured images of stealth and shadow. They were said to employ the herb in their quests, descending upon their foes with a ghostly calmness that terrified their enemies. However, whether or not these fearsome tales mirror reality is clouded by myth and medieval misunderstanding, leaving you to wonder what truth lingers within those shadowy folds. As you wander deeper into these stories, your mind drifts to the honey with which hashish was traditionally mixed. This golden nectar, a gift from bees to mankind, was believed to temper the herb's potency, transforming it from a raw material into a palatable, almost spiritual confection. It sweetened the experience both literally and metaphorically, ensuring that its bitter edges were smoothed away for those seeking enlightenment. These customs, though now mostly echoes in the corridors of history, prompt you to reflect on the ways communities adapt and transform their practices over time. In the lands across these storied terrains, just like the wind tracing over ancient sands, culture constantly evolves, shaped by the people who live and dream within its folds. As the night deepens, you let your imagination unfurl, buoyed by the tales of mystics of rebellion and of honeyed dreams spun into the tapestry of historic lands. You can almost hear the faint strains of music lifts and falls in subtle harmony with the soft hum of the world around you. The canvas of history painted with brushes, dipped in myth and reality, reveals itself as a living story, one that you are now a part of, even if just for this single luminous night. The aromatic mist of frankincense and myrrh hangs lightly in the air like a gentle embrace. You find yourself nestled in the history of ancient worlds, where these resins were cherished for their mystique and their scent. In these sacred spaces, you can imagine the slow curl of smoke rising to the sky, seemingly alive with purpose as it carried prayers and hopes upwards, a fragrant offering to the heavens. The swirling tendrils entice you forward, drawing you deeper into the heart of ancient rituals. It's almost magical, isn't it? These humble resins have their own stories to tell, whispering secrets through their smoky trails. Frankincense tapped from the bark of the boswellia tree, and myrrh harvested from the commiphora, each carry a mysterious allure. Historians still debate whether these trees were revered as sacred in themselves or merely valued for their aromatic bounty. Across cultures and continents, from the sun-drenched sands of Arabia to the bustling bazaars of ancient Byzantium, these fragrant companions were more than mere commodities. They were vital components of religious ceremonies, gateways between the earthly and the divine. As you ponder this harmonious blend of ritual and fragrance, you might chuckle at the thought that perhaps these scents were also a welcome distraction during lengthy sermons that tended to meander, much like this very story. Picture yourself in a grand hall surrounded by ornate mosaics and candlelight dancing across stone walls. The scent of burning incense fills your senses, softening the edges of reality, making the world feel just a little more surreal, a little more bearable. It's easy to see why ancient worshippers might have felt closer to their gods when enveloped in such an atmosphere, the smoke serving as a kind of aromatic balm, calming the restless spirit. Yet amidst the reverence and tradition, there's a sweet irony in how this soothing aroma occasionally lured the weary mind toward slumber, the very thing you might need on a long introspective night like this one. Just as today we might rely on a podcast or a bedtime story to ease us into sleep, these ancient participants had their own sedative, a gentle tug towards tranquility within the sanctity of their rites. You might wonder how such significant gifts were shipped across the vast lands and seas. Perhaps it was the same way we eagerly open a long-awaited delivery, though with a little more pomp and significantly more camels. Long caravans journeyed tirelessly across barren deserts, carrying their precious aromatic cargo to eager hands. Each waft of frankincense and myrrh, welcomed with awe, a whisper of lands far beyond the known horizon, places you're traveling to in your own imagination right now. It's curious, isn't it, that such an indulgence of the senses, the blending of smoke and spice, became not just part of religious rituals, but essential to them. Was it the smoke revealing something ethereal, an invitation to transcend the everyday, Or was it simply that the gentle sedative of the aroma allowed a long service to feel somehow shorter? As you ponder these thoughts, you breathe in deeply, envisioning the delicate swirl of smoke around you. It's as if the scent itself has the wisdom of ages, a comforting assurance that balances on the border of belief and disbelief. These rituals, these fragile dances of smoke and scent, remind you how deeply humans have always craved connection to the ineffable. And though historians continue to debate the origins and spiritual potency of these resins, one thing remains strikingly certain: the comfort they offered was as real then as your own yearning for peace is now. With a gentle smile, you let your imagination drift further, allowing the smoke's embrace to carry you away into the infinite expanse of yesteryears and dreams, the same way you're being gently lulled into a restful night. The rhythmic hum of night crickets accompanies your soft footsteps on the cobblestone path. As the last rays of the sun dip below the horizon, you find yourself transported to a familiar yet distant place, one where everyday life revolves around simple but profound joys. You are in a medieval village where the evening scene is serenely bustling. Lanterns flicker warmly against stone walls, casting playful shadows of townsfolk winding down after a day of toil. You meander through the market that's closing for the day, watching as vendors pack their goods. There's a comforting earthy aroma in the air, a mix of worn leather, fresh bread, and of course, the unmistakable scent of brewing alcohol. In times like these, you might think twice about reaching for a glass of water, knowing the hidden dangers lurking invisibly within. Ah, the age before tap water. You probably won't survive this without the aid of the local brew. Here, every drink tells a story richer than you'd expect. Take small beer, for example. With its low alcohol content, it's the staple for quenching thirst and staying hydrated. Even children partake in this daily ritual, and you find yourself intrigued by the scene of a little boy carrying a flagon that's nearly as big as he is, eyes wide, and steps careful. There's something oddly endearing about the assumption that everyone and everything has its place, including a child with a brewed refreshment meant to keep him safe. Historians still debate whether the prominence of small beer was more for hydration or nutrition. Yet here in our journey, we see firsthand its unassuming heroism in the village economy. Whispers from the past linger in the air as villagers chat about their day, the rolling plant-covered hills, echoing with laughter and stories. But lo and behold, there is also wine, the jewel of the table, emerging from rustic, tucked-away vineyards. Its presence signals that this is more than just a village of necessity. It's one of celebration and subtle sophistication. Whether for feasts or intimate gatherings, wine is the drink of choice for those wanting to savor life a little bit longer, one reflective sip at a time. Picture yourself in a makeshift tavern, the crude but welcoming establishment, alive with song and the clinking of cups. And not far behind, wine comes mead. The air is thick with the earthy sweetness that only fermented honey can bring, a nectar fit for legendary tales. The village bard might spin you a story of warriors fortified for battle with horn-held mead, but here it's another soothing gel in the village's social fabric. You overhear an old man at the next table swearing that a good mead could mend even the most stubborn of ailments, all while knitting a scarf without so much as a glance. Yet the true silent architect behind these scenes are the monks whose cloistered lives have contributed significantly to this art of liquid alchemy. Behind the high stone walls, the monks are busily refining recipes handed down over generations, the heady scent of wort reaching out to tickle your nose. Their devotion is painted with more than prayer. It's in the careful measurement of ingredients, the precise timing, and the keen sense of tradition. Have you ever seen such reverence fill a mug? There's an almighty calmness about their process, one you sense as you drift past the abbey, where tradition and innovation blend as seamlessly as the head on a perfectly poured ale. Unlike modern breweries, these monastic operations feel almost otherworldly. It's here you learn that the word beer itself comes from ancient monastic records, speaking of a rich history of brewing that influenced even the greatest of empires, though this too historians ponder endlessly. Your journey through this quaint, intoxicating world amplifies the simple truth in an age teetering between harsh realities and sweeter distractions. The humble brews are much more than drinks. They're a reminder that even the most unpretentious elements can sculpt the rhythm of life, joining people together in their shared stories and sustenance. And so, as the village settles into nighttime warmth, the echoes of laughter and muffled conversations accompanying your every step, you make your way back through the cobbled euphony heart, brimful with gratitude. And as your peaceful meander continues, the narrative seamlessly unfolds into darker yet wondrous taverns and the dawn of safer potable waters. With the gentle rustle of the pages in your mind, we find ourselves back in another time, a time when life was woven together through the threads of mystery and the everyday. As you wander through this peculiar landscape beneath the warming sun of history, you discover something deeply unnerving. Rye bread, freshly baked and inviting, is more than just a staple of the European diet. As you approach a bustling village bakery, the comforting aroma mingles with the morning air, a scent that's been consistent for generations. But there, among the rows of dark loaves, an ancient secret lurks. The story whispers to you of ergot, a type of fungus that subtly infiltrates rye, bringing with it visions as vivid as dreams, yet as real as the cobblestones beneath your feet. This ergot, barely visible to the naked eye, wields an astonishing power. It's said that those who unknowingly consume it ride the tides of hallucination. Imagine, if you can, standing in a square where the townsfolk gather only to be thrown into a dizzying dance seemingly possessed by unseen forces. Their convulsions, wild and free, defy the normal constraints of their bodies, evoking an eerie scene, a dancing plague. It's a spectacle that's both captivating and chilling, much like a flame that draws you closer despite the heat. The villagers, all seeking something to blame for this chaos, may even point to the supernatural. The air of mystery surrounding these happenings is thick, convincing some that darker forces are at play. Nights are filled with hushed conversations, giving rise to tales where ordinary folk become witch hunters, seeking answers and scapegoats in equal measure. As you wander through the cobbled streets, the simplicity of this explanation grips your imagination. Could a bread, something so essential, hold the power to unravel the threads of reality? Your thoughts twist in the silent debate. Historians still question whether Ergot was the true puppet master behind these outbreaks, or merely a player in a far broader conspiracy. In the heart of these murmurings lies one of history's most intriguing trials, the Salem witch trials. A chill runs down your spine as you ponder the link. What if the bizarre behaviors and accusations were influenced by more than fear and suspicion? What if hidden in the bread passed between neighbors lay the secret embers of the hysteria that swept through Salem, leaving behind a trail of ashes and shadows? Yet, as you find yourself pondering these ideas, one more curiosity nudges at your mind. Among those medieval towns plagued by hysteria, there's a peculiar tradition, a dance of freedom once darkness falls. They abandon their fears, swaying under the silver gaze of the moon, as if shaking off invisible chains. Is it defiance or delirium? Perhaps it's a little of both. A reminder that even in confusion, joy finds a way to persist. An old villager, noticing your puzzled expression, chuckles softly, suggesting that maybe Ergot inadvertently inspired some of the best and worst in humanity. In this candid moment, you grasp a quaint truth. Eras blend into one another like hues in a watercolor, seamless yet distinct. The scent of the dark rye again envelops you, tantalizing and familiar. Those loaves, despite their dormant potential for chaos, remain a testament to resilience, a woven tapestry of history where the mundane meets the mystic. As the story gently unwinds, imagine the serene dusk settling and the lands quieting after a day's specter of frenzied dances. Every village, every home swaddled in the comfort of night sighs in relief, gathering the day's mysteries like cherished family gossip to be relished again come morning. While you drift towards a soothing rest, imagine the rhythmic hum of history's heart beating steadily within these pastimes. Very soon the villagers will awaken to a new day, their spirits buoyed by the memories of laughter shared over bread that just perhaps tasted a tad different from the loaves you know now. In the gentle embrace of these musings, lulled by this storytelling, your heart rests in the comfortable warmth of understanding, one that threads through our days like a cherished quilt sewn with tales as timeless as the saved rye seeds waiting for the next year's planting. Before long, the whirling dances of the past transform into rhythmic lullabies, wrapping you further into a cocoon of peace as the night deepens. Hey guys, tonight we embark on a journey into the mystifying world of mad honey harvested from the mesmerizing rhododendron flowers nestled in secluded hillsides where few venture. Imagine this honey so powerful that a single taste sends you spiraling into dizziness and visions. It's like nature decided to brew its own surreal potion right there at the heart of those vibrant blossoms. Now, before you start thinking about spreading this peculiar nectar on your toast, be warned, this is honey you would probably not survive on your morning waffles. It once doubled down as an ancient weapon and even found a place in primitive medicine and recreation. Curious, huh? So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Feel free to post your location and local time in the comments below. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Nestled in a quaint village, tucked away in the folds of far-reaching hills, you find yourself curious about this peculiar concoction that seems to hold legends and whispers inside each droplet. The air is crisp and the leaves weave a gentle melody as the modern city's hustle fades into a distant memory. You are no longer surrounded by the concrete jungle, but by an endless sea of green, with twisted pathways inviting you deeper. The locals, with their knowing smiles, regard the rhododendron with a blend of reverence and wariness. Diving deep into history, you learn that armies once wielded this honey as a secret weapon, watching in hidden amusement as it enfeebled adversaries with terrifying effectiveness. It throws you back to the time of Mithridates VI, king of Pontus, who, according to lore, used mad honey to slay Roman soldiers. Pretty wild for a sticky sweet substance, right? You'll notice as you look around the hard-working bees flitting tirelessly from blossom to blossom, oblivious to the power they're distilling with each flutter and buzz. Amid hushed stories told by elderly villagers, you hear the soft, almost conspiratorial whispers of how this honey can still be found in select markets if you know whom to ask a trade, almost mystical in its obscurity. Interestingly, historians still debate whether its curious effects were an accidental discovery or a deliberately harnessed attribute of ancient warfare. This keeps your mind spinning as you wander deeper into the narrative of nature and secrets it holds. Just as your surroundings echo with unknown histories, the honey melds the sensory with the supernatural, a reminder of how closely our world intertwines with magic and mystery. Unexpectedly, you stumble on tales of people who sought the honey not to hinder, but to heal, swearing by its miraculous properties. Some ancient healers praised it for its ability to soothe ailments, claiming it to be a potion from the gods. As strange as it might seem, the honey could just as effectively tiptoe into the medicinal realm as the mischievous one. Yet it's not all folklore and romanticized stories. The very chemical in the honey-gray anotoxin challenges modern-day scientists to keep studying its effects. You marvel at how something so simple, a flower, and its industrious beekeeper can create such wildly varying reactions, from calming senses to inducing states akin to hallucination. Even today, adventurers and thrill-seekers might tempt fate with a taste drawn by curiosity for a natural high, a recreational escapade into the wild side of flora. But here in this gently moonlit instruction, no need to take chances. You wander willingly into a quiet state, much like the honey itself, sweetly weaving between the conscious and the surreal. It's late now, and as the stories blend into the subtle rhythm of nature's nocturne, you begin to ponder the even deeper mysteries waiting just beyond human reach. It's a world where blooming flowers and busily buzzing bees hold secrets older than the wars they were once part of. and you're more of an observer of nature's greatest hoax content to enjoy the tales told by dewdrops and daydreams. Thus ending tonight's exploration, where the warm embrace of knowledge safely cushions you against the encroaching shadows of sleep. You are more aware of the seductive call of the mad honey's elusive charm, perhaps even thankful you were merely a listener and not a partaker in its potent lure. You smile softly, drifting away with thoughts of ancient civilizations and their intoxicating secrets tucked safe just like tonight under whispers and wanderings, ready to bring you safely into rest.